Today I am making a low-fat vegan pumpkin soup with noodles. Don't worry, it's gluten-free. We are using spaghetti squash and we're gonna scrape it with the tines of a fork and make them into noodles. And we're gonna add some mushrooms on top that are sauteed, and we are not using any oil, so it is low fat, and the creamy part is going to be from light coconut milk. So let's go in the kitchen and get cooking. We have washed the outside of the spaghetti squash just to get rid of any bacteria, cutting off the ends and then slicing it down the middle. And my husband is doing this because he's stronger than me and it's much easier to have someone else do it for you. So this is what the spaghetti squash looks like inside. And right now he is scraping out the seeds. So this is what it looks like, and then he's going to put that face down. So we are using the whole spaghetti squash. So preheating for 375 degrees. You'll see different sizes of spaghetti squash. I love spaghetti squash. We're basically making noodles with this spaghetti squash, and the more noodles the better. So I like lots of spaghetti squash, so just it's up to you. If you want more, get the bigger ones, and we're going to bake this for 45 minutes after it is ready at 375 degrees. And we've placed this on parchment paper. You don't want to have any of your food touch aluminum foil because aluminum is a metal and it can get absorbed into your food, and that is not something that you want in your body. You don't want it touching your body, you don't want it touching your food, you don't want to eat it, you don't want it absorbed through your skin at all. In this pan, I have 1 garlic clove that's been minced and 1 whole yellow onion. You can use white onion. And I put a 1/4 cup of water and I'm heating it. And it's, so actually I already cooked it. It's translucent, which is where you want it to be. So it's nice and cooked. And you'll notice that I do not use any oil, which is totally unnecessary. And now let's go ahead and add the filling, which is 2 cans of pumpkin. And this is 100% pureed, pure pumpkin. So when you buy these cans of pumpkin, just make sure that the only ingredient is pumpkin. And I always buy organic. I don't want any pesticides. So we've got 2 cans. This is 15 ounces each, so 30 ounces of pureed pumpkin. Next ingredient is 1 can of light coconut milk. This is 13.5 ounces. Go ahead and pour that in. And I'm using light because I want this to be a low-fat meal and lower in calories while still having that wonderful creamy delicious coconut flavor. To stir that in, and the next thing we're going to add is 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Make sure it's level. And we're going to use 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. Be sure to stir it so everything is incorporated completely. Look, pumpkin soup. It's already looking like that delicious creamy pumpkin soup. No dairy, vegan. I do not use stock from the store. I make my own. So whatever I'm cooking, I just add water. So if it asks for 2 cups of stock, I add 2 cups of water. So go ahead and pour 2 cups of water into the soup. if I just added water, it would be very bland. So now we're gonna add a little bit of garlic powder. So just sprinkle a little bit garlic powder on top, not too much, that's about right. And then add just a little bit of paprika. One is just for color and a little extra flavor. I don't want it tasting too much like paprika, just a little bit. That's about right. And then oregano, a lot of oregano. Basically, I'm just covering the top with oregano. More. I'm gonna sprinkle it all around to the sides, and that way you'll know it's enough. It's a very mild flavor. And then a teensy bit of onion powder. Onion powder is pretty strong. And that's one last ingredient. I almost forgot the most important one. You'll notice that I did not use any salt because instead I use coconut aminos. So in all of my stocks, I use a 1/4 cup of coconut aminos if they are a normal size soup. So normal size, what is that? Not massive, just like a typical soup that you would make. If it's a huge pot, you would double up all the spices. Lastly, some cracked black pepper, and just use as much as you want. And that's how I make my stock. It's pretty darn simple. What did it take? A few minutes, and it's so much less expensive, that's about right, than if you had purchased it at the store. And if what I also found, if you look at the ingredient list of all the stocks, even if it's vegan, if it's healthy, they all have ingredients I don't like. They have a lot of salt, they have oil. I don't want oil on my diet, that's processed, it's completely unhealthy. And they have natural flavorings, which are chemicals, so I don't want that either. The last step is to make the topping with a little bit of mushroom. So all I have here, this is about 2 boxes of mushrooms that I thinly sliced, and I cook them down in practically nothing. It takes the water from the mushrooms. So right now I'm adding the flavor. About 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos. So that is the salt, savory element. And now you can definitely make this with about 1 to 2 tablespoons of your favorite red wine, but I didn't want to open up a whole bottle of wine just for these mushrooms because I don't drink alcohol. The good thing about cooking with alcohol is the alcohol gets cooked out. So let's add herbs because you gotta have herbs in this. So I like to add a lot of oregano. And I mean a lot. Like, I don't want to see any mushrooms. So all the way around. All right, and a little bit of garlic. Sprinkle it all over top. It's about great. And then a little bit of onion powder. Perfect. A little bit of thyme. I don't really like thyme, but a little bit is just excellent. All right. And then you'll just want to taste this to make sure it's to your liking. And then you can add more herbs. You can add your favorite herbs. And now normally when I make these mushrooms, I will add onion. But there's already onion in my soup, and I really just want to have mushrooms. The spaghetti squash has been cooling on the counter, and we're going to turn this into noodles. So flip it over. So you can see it's cooked, and we're going to make the noodles by using a fork and just scraping it. So you want to get every little bit. Okay. So you can see all these delicious noodles. You can either leave it in there or scrape it into the pan. And make sure to do both. Now don't throw this part away because you can like have your kids like gnaw on it as a snack. I like to, so don't throw that away. I want to eat it. like a kid, you know, it's like a toy. All right, so do both. Look at this. Look how beautiful this is. This is literally like, it's like spaghetti Isn't this cool? What's wonderful about this, it's not starchy. People were asking me, oh, well, it's starchy. No, it's not at all. It's very light. And let me taste it. All right. So some spaghetti squash is very neutral flavor. It doesn't taste like much of anything. It's more like a textural element. Sometimes you'll get very sweet spaghetti squash. And in that case, I'll literally eat both of these, and that will be like a snack. But this one's a little bit a combination of either one. It's a little bit sweet, so just very subtle, and we'll put this inside the soup. You just want to heat the soup up until it's warm, because it's really all the ingredients already cooked. Next, take the spaghetti squash noodles you just made and put that right into your pot, all of it. So you'll need a fairly big pot, medium sized, medium large. Go ahead and stir that in completely so that you don't have any big chunks. Pretty good. All right, stop and pull the ladle up so people can see the yum noodles. Look at the noodles. And they're non-starchy, that's gluten-free. All right, so I like really large portions, so I have these massive bowls. So we're gonna fill this up. This is very low calorie, so you can eat a large portion, which is so much fun. So you can have lots of food. Fill up your tummy. Oh my goodness, so good. One more scoop should do it. Look how rich and creamy. No fat, no dairy. All right, let's add a little bit of, make sure not to get the sauce, just a little bit of the mushroom right in the middle. How pretty. Okay, so next we're gonna just top it with a little bit of cilantro. Better to chop it, but I didn't have time, so there it is. Now time for tasting. All right, look at the noodles. So the noodles are a little bit crunchy. They're not mushy. The herbs give it that wonderful freshness. And now I'm going to take a little bit with the mushroom. It's really good. It's warming. It's comfort food. Wonderful for winter. And if you want it a little bit sweeter, you can add maybe a little bit of maple syrup. That might be nice. And you can add a little bit more coconut aminos. I think drizzling a little bit of coconut aminos on top would be excellent. And I just don't have it here, but a little bit on top. This is really good. And what I like about this, it's not just low calorie, it's lower in carbohydrates. And as a diabetic, my blood sugar goes up with so many foods, tofu, edamame, like it's like practically everything. But this is the one, even cooked broccoli but this meal really doesn't spike my blood sugar. So even with this really large portion, so it's something that I recommend especially for diabetics. So I'll put the steps and the ingredients below, and you can just check that out. If you have any questions, let me know. Hope to see you soon. If you want some more wonderful low-fat vegan recipes, check out this playlist, and also go to my website, thehigh5diet.com. I've got 2 cookbooks. One is entrees and desserts, and it talks about nutrition and lots of amazing meals in there. Just, I don't know what they are. Just look at these photos here. And also I've got a desserts cookbook. 90% of those are vegan raw. And oh my goodness, like I've got fudge and there's no sugar in any of them. And it's just whole foods like dates and fruit and healthy foods that you won't get fat off of, and yummy healthy fats like nuts. So you check out the High Five Diet and my desserts cookbook. It's called Slimming Dairy-Free Desserts and Smoothies. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I hope to see you soon.